हे जे आहे ना की आपल्याकडे जे डिस्टिंग्विश स्पीकर आहेत ते स्वतः आपल्याला मदत करतात, हे फक्त गर्जे मराठीच्या प्लॅटफॉर्मवर
Okay, very good afternoon all of you. It's wonderful to see so many people sitting out here. And I think सगळं हार्ड वर्क हे गर्जे मराठी आणि त्यांच्या सगळ्या ग्रुपला याचे खूप खूप कौतुक आणि आपल्या सगळ्यांनाच खूप खूप आभार. आपण सगळे आज इथे आलात आणि दुपारच्या छान जेवणानंतर बरेच जण जागे अजून आहेत, त्यामुळे कारण मी आत्ता सोफे आलेल्यामुळे जरा थोडं एनर्जी अप झाली, सो आय कॅन स्टील बी अवेक. बट थँक्यू सो मच फॉर बिंग हिअर. आज मी डिजिटल हेल्थ केअर याबद्दल आपल्याशी बोलणार आहे. आता डिजिटल हेल्थ केअर हे आपल्या प्रत्येकाच्या आयुष्यात, डे टू डे आयुष्यात आलेलं आहे. फॉर एक्झाम्पल जर तुम्ही स्क्रीनवरती बघितलं तर अगदी आय वॉच किंवा वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे सेन्सिंग मशीन्स, लाईक फॉर एक्झाम्पल कोविडच्या काळामध्ये आपण पल्स ऑक्सिमीटर प्रत्येकाने घरात घेतले. आपल्याकडच्या बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी अशा आहेत की जे 20 वर्षापूर्वी आपण बघितलं असेल त्याच्या कंपॅरिझनमध्ये आत्ता आपल्याकडे बरेचसे टूल्स, डिव्हायसेस, मॉनिटर्स आपण आपल्या स्वतःच्या पर्पजसाठी वापरायला लागले आहोत. आणि त्याच्यामुळे छोट्या छोट्या गोष्टींसाठी आपल्याला डॉक्टरकडे जाण्याची गरज नाही आहे. अँड दॅट इज वेअर आय वॉन्ट टू एक्सप्लेन टू यू टुडे अबाउट डिजिटल हेल्थ केअर. So digital healthcare is all about how are you trying to bring the digital transformation in the healthcare industry for the benefit of the mankind. Next slide please. तुम्ही जर इथं बघितलं तर it is always said that, again हा माझा फोटो नाही आहे, so I'm just standing like this, but या फोटोत जर बघितलं तर the reason it got inflated, this is the healthcare cost that are inflating almost every month in the country like United States. United States मध्ये healthcare expenditure is almost $4.3 trillion. And just for your comparison, India's GDP is $3.4 trillion. So crazily, America is spending even more than what India's GDP is. And that kind of the healthcare cost, the cost will be under control. And that is where you can see the companies like Amazon acquiring One Medical, because they want to actually streamline the appointment system, the healthcare system, the physician visit system. If you look at the similar options in India, Practo, अशा कंपन्या आहेत की जिथे तुम्हाला physician appointments online मिळतात. You can actually schedule that and go. You don't need to now go and wait for a physician office and stay there for 2 hours more. No, it doesn't happen that way. So हे जे काही transformation येत आहे, which is by virtue of the data, which is by virtue of the devices, and which is by virtue of the analytics, is what is this digital healthcare is all about. And digital healthcare is significantly changing the industry, and also there are many newcomers who are loving this digital healthcare industry, and that's where you can see that biomedical engineering admissionचा जो cutoff असतो तो significantly वरती गेला आहे. The kids who are going from high school to the colleges, they do prefer to get into biomedical engineering with a specialization in the digital healthcare as Gholap. Now again I'm going to explain it to you the difference between how diagnostics and the therapeutics industry vary. And my focus today is only going to speak on the diagnostics, because my colleague Dr. Sanjeev, he will be covering the therapeutics in the following sessions. So let's go to the next slide. So healthcare ecosystem आपण जेव्हा बघतो की त्याच्यात कॉस्ट जास्त का झाली आहे, तर त्याच्यात पहिल्यांदा बघताना तुम्हाला लक्षात येईल की देर आर 4 players. वन इज अ पेशंट. तो पेशंट कुठलीही गोष्ट करण्याच्या आधी the patient will have to go to the payers, which are the insurance companies. Insurance companies will verify that whether he has a plan, active plan, whether the reimbursement can happen, and then a physician is brought into picture. Now, in this situation, patient, payer, provider, and the provider is what I am referring as a physician. Just for people who are not from this country or not staying in this country, provider is a physician office or the clinicians or the hospitals who is providing the services. So, here, 3 constituent there are so many iterations keep on happening. There are many places where a patient has to go to the physician office for even the smaller kind of the procedures, which eventually keep on adding the cost, because there are also lots of overheads in this whole system. Next slide please. So इथे आपण जर बघितलं तर पेशंट ऑब्झर्वेशन अँड मेजरमेंट याच्यातनं जो काही पेशंटचा डेटा तयार होतो त्या डेटाचं इंटरप्रिटेशन इज हॅपनिंग ऑन दॅट साइड. सम इन्फॉर्मेशन गेट क्रिएटेड, data categorization happen, and then between data categorization and the planning phase, I have shown something like diagnostics. Now, many of us have come across the situation that maybe few years back, few decades back, when we used to go to the doctor, the diagnostic used to happen right there and there itself. Nowadays, that has changed. Doctors, physicians prefer to send you for some diagnostic test, blood test, laboratory. There are lots of laboratory tests keep on happening. It could be also the genetic test. So there are lots and lots of tests are happening. So what does that mean is that the physician offices are trying to collect a lot of data from you to actually come up with some objective assessment, which is very good for the humankind, because that is going to help you to actually identify the problem that all of or any of you have when you are going to the doctor. But unfortunately, that adds lots of cost because you are involving lots of players, lots of tests are happening. When the tests are happening, there are some technicians come into picture, the equipment come into picture, the data gets collected, then you need somebody to explain that data to you. And then eventually, based on that data, they are going to find out some common terminologies which are called the CPT code or the ICD codes, based on which they are going to bill it to the insurance companies. So like for example, तुम्ही अगदी ब्लड प्रेशरची सारी टेस्ट केली, त्या टेस्ट केल्यानंतर जर दोन तुमचे कुठले ऑब्झर्वेशन आले आणि त्या ऑब्झर्वेशनच्या बेसिसवर जर डॉक्टरने तिथे मेन्शन केलं की दिस पेशंट आय हॅव टेस्टेड फॉर hypertension, that hypertension word actually is going to carry a certain dollar value from the insurance companies, and that dollar value is what physician is going to get. So physicians will always look for those words because that's where the revenue generating machine is of that hospital. And at the same point of time, patient is going to say that, oh, I don't want anything because I think, like if you are going to charge me more, I'm not going to pay you more. And that's exactly where insurance company come in, like hedging companies, where they say that, okay, don't worry, you just pay me monthly, and then whatever you go to the doctor, even if you tell you to do 20 different things, don't worry, you're still not going to pay more cost. So for patient, it becomes very convenient. But at the same point of time, you are actually putting a lot of burden on this whole healthcare system where the costs are going up every day. Next, please. So diagnostic company मध्ये जर आपण बघितलं तर इथे there are some companies that I have listed, and these are the medical devices companies. So the medical devices companies are those companies who आपण जे आता diagnosticच्या मागच्या slide मध्ये माझे equipments बघितले. So these are the companies who are manufacturing those equipments, and these are the names that you all of us are aware, right? I mean Stryker, Philips, Siemens, Becton Dickinson, Johnson and Johnson. आताच प्रोफेसर जावकारांनी पण जॉन्सन अँड जॉन्सनचा उल्लेख केला. Abbott, Medtronic. Salil also spoke about Johnson and Johnson's innovation and also the gap in between the innovation. So the carry-over message what I'm giving here is there are companies doing exceptionally well, generating tons of money because they are the medical devices companies. The products are in full traction because there are more and more patients are going to go back to the doctor's clinic, and doctors are going to push us to these devices companies. Of course, devices companies are getting a lot of opportunities to actually get data from you, all of you, and help you get some diagnostic inferences from that. Next, please. But over the last few years, there are new entrants who have started coming into this medical device industry. And these new entrants, like this picture suggests here, the companies like Verily by Google, then you also have Apple Health, you're also having Teladoc, One Medical by Amazon, Babylon for symptom checking. So there are a lot of technical tools. So can you just go back to the slide? There are lots of technical tools that are coming up. And then on the top you can see also Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, ChatGPT. He has recently launched a company for the blood sample detection. It may sound familiar to you because this is exactly what was done by Elizabeth Holmes few years back, Theranos. All of us know the stories here. What happened to that company? The promises were very high. They said, well, just give me one drop of blood. We will do all your 25 to 200 tests from the single drop of blood. It was overhyped. Investors got cheated. The founder is behind the bars. On the same backdrop, all of us are just coming out of it because the sentence was just issued. The founder just went behind the bars. And the new founder, new company is now launching the similar product with even the taller claims. Now, all of us know that this is Silicon Valley. I have built startups, many of you have built startups. Silicon Valley is all about fake till you make it. That's the mantra of this land. Which is valid for all practical purposes because ultimately it's a dream. Why an entrepreneur has to do something? Because the entrepreneur believes in that passionately. Nobody else believes in it. It's only the entrepreneur who believes in it. No investor believes in it. Then you convince investor, then one investor believes in it. Then you convince another investor, then you convince employees, then you convince partners, then you convince customers. So an entrepreneur job, as Salil also had said, is to get only punched from all different directions. But at the same point of time, what continues is the passion. What continues is actually that desire to make a difference. And as Dr. Mashalka said this morning, that disruption is what every entrepreneur is looking for. And that is exactly what's happening in this industry. The reason I'm making this little bit more in the depth is because many of you who are probably aspiring entrepreneurs, trying to get into the biomedical side, digital healthcare side, I come across so many the young talents who want to really do something in this space. There are a lot of investors who are conventionally investing in the enterprise businesses, cloud businesses, mobility businesses. They also look at digital healthcare as one opportunity, but this opportunity comes with a lot of hurdles because you require a good amount of domain knowledge. And that's exactly where this is a great opportunity for the new entrants who will come on the top. So you can see the graphics, the poor guy is still like climbing the mountain. The new entrants are coming right on the top without even going through the same cycles. Look at the number of years Medtronic is in place. Look at the number of years Johnson & Johnson is in place. And look at the number of years Verily, Teladoc, or even this Sam Altman company is going to be in place. The moment Sam Altman's dream or even the Theranos dream would have become possible or the real, all the conventional blood collection centers of laboratories and everything will just go away. Because, next slide, what is happening is a new trend. I think I'm coming in between these people, so I'm just switching on this side. So what is happening as a new trend is, a lot of diagnostic is now getting shifted to at home. So people are essentially now looking at a basic question that why do I even go to the doctor? People have started asking this question. Well, Silicon Valley asked the question much ahead of anybody on this earth. All of us are aware about it. Silicon Valley already started asking the questions, and also there is also the substantiation of the answer to that is that doctor is not for diagnostics. Doctor is for treatment. I will actually have my own devices by virtue of which I will know myself what's the problem with me. And once I know the problem, I will go to that doctor who can fix me. A garage concept, right? You know that, okay, the car is not starting. You know the car is not starting, or you know that your tire is flat. When the tire is flat, you're not going to the general physician, you're not going to the general mechanic, you're going to a specific center like Gholap, where you know that they're going to fix your tires. So can we actually move this whole healthcare industry to that vision that my diagnostics will be done by me with my own equipment, which will be at my own home. I will use those equipments, find my own problems, and go to the doctor only for treatment purposes or therapeutic purposes. What is that? Here, look at the statistics. 45% of the population below age of 34 is ready. Between 35 to 54 is 50%. I think the senior citizens are yet to learn, but they will learn eventually. As all of us are moving into that segment or that cohort, I think that will automatically happen. But this is very promising because you can see now that not only your vital signs can be collected, but for even removing the stitches for your wound, you don't need to go back to the same physician system. You just go to the CVS or smaller physician shops, and then that is where they can take care of it. So you can actually find out a way to actually reduce the cost by virtue of you investing into this kind of products yourself. And to build this product, to design this product, to innovate this product, it's a new market opportunity which is evolving very rapidly. There is a less amount of saturation in this industry because it's healthcare, it's close to everybody's heart. Tomorrow if I start talking about cloud, maybe half of the people will go away. But this is just because healthcare, everybody is sitting here because this is close to everybody's heart. Now, sincerely speaking, there are many devices which actually give rise to a very objective analysis. Just as an example, if there are 3 pathologists, if the same cancer case is shown to 3 pathologists, trust me, they give 4 answers. 3 people should give 1 answer. 3 people, worst case, should give 3 answers. But 3 pathologists giving 4 answers, it means that the same case seen by the same pathologist after a washout period of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they change their answers. And that's the reality. This is so subjective. Medicine is a very subjective science, but at least it has some hypothesis at the back end. I mean, somebody was telling me jokingly that when you say that this is so subjective, then how it is different than astrology? No, that is different. I mean, we are not even talking about it. Healthcare has certain norms, it has certain protocols, it has certain systems, but still with a lot of efforts from the engineering perspective, from the instrumentation perspective, this can really be solved for the benefit of all of us. Next slide, please. So if you look at these top tech areas, there are a lot of venture capital funding getting attracted to these areas. So what I'm saying is not really a future, it's a reality, it's happening now. So if you see clinical decision support systems, healthcare booking, wellness, mobility health apps, telemedicine, analytics. All these are pretty hotcakes. These are all the digital healthcare dimensions. A lot of new funding is coming into this area, and a lot of new advancements are happening. And you will certainly see that, this is going to be an entirely different industry probably in the next 15 to 20 years, because the whole focus is now shifting as a value-based care. The whole focus is shifting towards the at-home diagnostics. Next slide, please. So as I take convergence, whenever I get some questions on this, saying that, what are the opportunities that we have, we just completed our career in this path, and that's where some of those students that I understand that those are also here. These are an excellent opportunity scenario where you have right from genomics, chemistry, healthcare, big data, software, telehealth, medical imaging, mechanical sensors. It's a conglomerate of various discrete technologies, a variety of the technologies which are coming together for a single purpose of improving the healthcare, improving the patient care. Now, next please. So here what you can do is that, here digital healthcare gives you an opportunity to conceive your new products. You actually have a clear-cut opportunity, a chance to think about creating, inventing, innovating your new products. Because you are yourself a witness, you yourself is the user of that, you come to know very clearly. There are many people where the family members are getting detected for any specific disease condition. They understand because if they go to the doctor, talk to 3 people, they will understand what is the business problem. So if you can keep your eyes and ears open, digital healthcare provides you an opportunity to conceptualize your own product, which will be differentiated very well in the industry. Point number 2, patents. Dr. Marshall also made a mention about it, and Salil made a perfect mention about it, that how many people even care about filing the patents? All of us have the great ideas. Even like right now, since morning, a couple of people I talked to, they are saying that, oh, I have one idea. So, hold on, don't tell me your idea. Have you even taken care of registering your own patent or at least preserving that? Because patents are going to play a significant role in the global economy. Now, as a part of healthcare, now I'm not talking about other aspects of the industry, but as a part of the healthcare, it is extremely important to file your own patents. Fortunately, I have my own 21 patents already granted. So it was important for me being in this industry to actually preserve your own intellectual property and get the patents on this. With those 21 patents, there are 4 patents on which we have won the patent litigation against the bigger companies as well. So these patents really work. There are bigger companies like Natera, which is one of the companies here in the area. They license our patent. Invite is another big laboratory business. They license our patent. So there are big names. So it's not that you will be fighting only with the small players. Even if you are a small entrepreneur, you can still fight with the bigger companies if you have a patent. So registering your own patent is extremely important. But most importantly, this industry gives you a chance to create an intellectual property. So when you go to the investor, you're as an entrepreneur or as a business person, you're always like, oh, I need some money. So you always feel that, how am I asking the money? Why should I ask them that money? But remember, you have intellectual property, you have intellectual capital. They have venture capital, but you have intellectual capital. So give an importance to that and try to preserve that. The third point I would say is in terms of the market. You actually can create a market opportunity. So it's not that you have to sell into the same market. If you have a product idea in the healthcare field, you actually can create a new market where you will have your own virgin market to sell into. So even creating a new market opportunity is also one of the areas that one can think about if you are focusing on the digital healthcare. Next. There are new business models can come in place. There are different business models which are the function of geography. The business models are also a function of culture. Business models are also a function of the way the economics happens in those specific geographies. So like for example, the business model for doing the work in India may be different compared to what the business model that you can do doing the work here. Because ultimately healthcare industry is all heavily regulated. And that is where you have to also create your own model that will differentiate your own offerings in this industry. Next. And certainly tons of jobs. This industry, as you can see, there is a lot of money getting into the industry. There are clear-cut requirements in the industry, and at the same point of time, there are opportunities for many newcomers, and many of those people who have already worked in the different industries. For example, you already worked in the financial industry, you still have an opportunity to come back into the healthcare industry and offer your own services as a part of your capabilities, either as a mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, instrumentation, robotics, control systems, software, cloud, mobility, database, you just name it. Everything is required in this industry because it's a combination of everything. Next. So I'm just going to give you two examples in the end. So one is like, this is the microscope that you have used. Now this is a microscope, unlike your any other industry, like for example radiology, or you look at your cell phones, you look at your cars, you look at your eyeglasses, everything got changed in the last 10 to 12 years. Interestingly, microscope is probably the only device which is being used in the diagnostics for the last 200 years. And we have no clue why people never thought about changing the microscope. Now I will give you one use case, as you can see here. Cervical cancer is the second most common cancers of women. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, you know, right? 40%, 45% of the population of this world is a woman. And then within that, if you're looking at females above age of 40, there is a good amount of crowd sitting, and the cervical cancer possibility is there for every female above the age of 40. As a part of the medical protocols, they are required to do the pap smear screening, and in the rural areas, even in India, there are many of the villages where females are not interested to go to the doctor and do the screening because of the cost. And point number two, it's just not possible for them to travel from Barshi to Mumbai or from Barshi to Pune. They cannot travel. So what happens? They just don't screen themselves. And then eventually they die because of this. And there is a significant prevalence of this disease in India, South Africa, Brazil, all the developing world. The developed world at least has the protocols in place. You go to the doctor, insurance company is going to force you to go for that testing. And that is where at least there is a control that happens. The point here, what I'm saying is that the same device is now converted into an automated system with an AI tools. So with the help of AI tools, now this whole system, this is one of my portfolio company where these tools are deployed in different clinics. Now patient doesn't need to go to the big cities, but rather they can give their own samples. The screening happens. And out of the 1,000 females, if the screening rate is like 2 to 3% of them are abnormal, then only those 20 to 30 female patients required to go to the bigger cities because for the second screening, the rest of the 980 are actually good. They can move forward, they don't need to come back, they can come back next year. So these are the tools which are actually helping them. One of the topics also happens sometimes in the morning is about IoT, internet enabled devices. This is one of such example. Now this kind of a tool, Government of India having a lot of proactive measures that are happening nowadays, at least in the last 5 to 6 years. I'm not endorsing any political statements here, but really speaking, there are a lot of new things happening in our country. And under this, this award was given as the most innovative Women's Healthcare Award under the affordable devices categories. I will also walk you to the next. So this is more on the medical devices. In the next slide. Thank you. And now I will touch upon the AI. As you can see, we also just had a talk about the AI. And AI, I'm talking about is more from the healthcare perspective. We saw right now one component which is the instrument. Now this is the second part of the medical devices or the digital healthcare, which is software. And that software is nothing but the artificial intelligence. You can now make use of artificial intelligence in various segments of the healthcare industry. As the AI in healthcare is a very attractive field. So some of you probably are thinking about AI as the future or already working in that space. Healthcare could be a good destination for you because the AI in healthcare is growing at almost 41% compounded annual growth. And because of that, this is a very attractive opportunity for many of us to start thinking that I have an interest in AI, but let me have an AI in healthcare as an application. Now that industry, was around 12 to 14 billion dollars, which is expected to reach around 200 to 250 billion dollars. And this is where India can also play another significant contribution because many companies over here are not able to find engineers having skill sets in AI. And as you know, in India, the transformation of skill sets is happening rapidly from their existing, the way it was used to happen in Y2K to .NET, .NET to Java, then Java is scrapped. Python is scrapped, then big data, after big data now it's AI. So that transformation, the way it is happening, I think is actually going to help in this case because there are a lot of such opportunities that are coming up. But healthcare industry eventually are now looking for that, as Salil was also saying this morning, is not for bodies, not for brains, but as the complete company itself. So there are opportunities that if there are new companies come up in India who are at an early stage of the medical devices or the digital healthcare, there could be a good destination for those companies to actually come completely to this country. I completely agree with what you were saying. Next slide, please. Next. You can keep on going. I'll just keep parallel speaking. So these are some of the other applications of AI in the healthcare. Now, many of the times, topic comes up like, if the AI is coming, will somebody be losing the jobs? The answer is probably no, because in late 80s, when Microsoft launched Excel, people feared that many of the accountants will lose their jobs. It never happened. In fact, those tools made accountants even more efficient and more even perfect in terms of the service that they were offering. Same is going to happen here. There is an AI application which is generative AI for the clinicians, where now you don't require to even have any medical notes to be explained by the physician to you. The medical notes are written, any of the reports are written, and there are platforms where those reports can be ingested, and those platforms can actually help you understand that report yourself. In absence of that, what people were doing, they used to take those data, go to Google, type that data in Google, and then Google will give you like 20 different conditions and 50 different HTMLs and 100 different PDFs, and you have no clue what do I do and what do I refer. But here it's more concise, and you can focus on it. As the generative AI aspect, it is probably going to tell you something based on what it is trained on. I think generative AI can play a significant role, in natural language processing can play a significant role. Next slide, please. So if you're looking at using artificial intelligence in the healthcare, these are some of the opportunities that can be handled by the software tools, including right from the symptom checking to patient triaging, appointment scheduling, insurance verification. While you guys read this, I want to have you focus on the left side of it, that in India, you have one doctor for 11,000 patients against the recommendation of one doctor for 1,000 patients. So we are really in need of the expertise in a country like India. So AI will definitely not eliminate anybody, because right now there is a deficiency of those expertise because those many people are not there. And I think AI will eventually complement that deficit by virtue of adding more and more capabilities. So one doctor can actually handle 4 or 5 patients at the same time, because the 3 of those are being now handled by that AI in the same cabinet. Next slide, please. And this is what is happening. So right now, and this picture I have not created, this is like right from the net. So though, this picture actually gives you an idea about what's happening in India right now. There is a lot of things happening even in the digital healthcare space. It's good that the government is understanding the need of digital healthcare. A lot of new systems are being launched. There are a lot of data management tools are being launched. And also the whole industry is moving towards growth of the digital healthcare. So at this point of time, I would like to take a pause here. I know I have exceeded my time by 3 minutes, sorry Sandeep. But thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to be here around today and tomorrow. So if you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think so much insight into healthcare, and we know where are we going to be.